Today we're doing D&D character generation, part 3, because you guys seem to really like that. Let's get started.
Chan Davoste, an Earth Ganassi male rogue, exceptionally beautiful, hardy, healthy, but also feeble and scrawny. Skilled dancer who slurs his words and lisps and stutters. He's irritable. He's greedy, but loyal to a benefactor or patron. He's arrogant. 20 years of age, 5'8", 146 pounds. Orange eyes, deep brown skin type rusty iron.
Okay.
Black hair with a low and gravelly voice. An assassin rogue who became such because he was initially wronged by an assassin or thief. Absent parents, they were imprisoned, enslaved, or otherwise taken away.
Oh dear.
Family lifestyle, squalid. Trinket, a glass jar containing a weird bit of flesh floating in pickling fluid.
Ew.
Yeah.
That's gross.
Yeah.
So my character is Vlarin Vuvasax. Vuvazath. Vlarin is fine.
Vlarin and Chan.
So Vlarin is a Triton female barbarian who is of noble descent. She has a nervous eye twitch. And she's very dexterous, agile, and graceful. She paints beautifully, and she slurs her words, lisps, or stutters. Oh, cute. Both of our characters can't speak properly.
Yours paints beautifully, and mine is beautiful, and so with their friends, and like she probably paints him.
Yeah, you can be my muse.
Yeah.
She's hot-tempered but fair, and her flaw or secret is that she has committed a secret crime or misdeed. She's 32 years old, and she's only 5 foot. She's quite small.
I mean, this guy's only 5'8".
I think I'm 5'8".
Really?
I think so. She has black eyes, silver blue skin, and green blue hair. She has images of her spirit animal tattooed across her weapon arm and hand. That's going to be really fun to draw. And she became a barbarian because her anger needed to be channeled into battle, or she risks becoming an indiscriminate killer.
Fair enough.
Ooh, she feisty. I like her. She's a lawful evil, and she carries a white sequined glove sized for a human.
From Michael Jackson?
Oh no, you ruined it. So while the description of my character was super detailed in some areas, there were some other areas that they just completely neglected. So a lot of features were completely up to me. Now, because they neglected to talk about a weapon, I decided to go with no weapon, deciding that her brute strength and her muscles would be the only thing that she needed in battle. Especially because she's a Triton, I imagine she spends a lot of time underwater, and a lot of weapons aren't exactly usable in water. Think of like an axe and a sword. I feel like all the pressure of the water makes it a lot harder to wield. So having no weapon or prop for her to hold on to, I really didn't know what to do with the pose. I really wanted to convey that she had that angry, fiery sort of temper, but I also wanted to give her a relatively idle pose so it wasn't too distracting from her character design. I ended up going with this like hands on the hips, which is a little bit sassy, a little bit like, I don't know, a little bit grumpy, maybe a little bit disappointed in someone.
Disappointed.
It mentioned that she did have some siblings, so maybe she's like looking after her siblings and she's like grounding them or something. I don't know, I just thought it was really suited her character.
Yeah, choosing a pose is an interesting thing, isn't it? Because when you're doing character design, it needs to be able to showcase things. Yeah. But at the same time, you want it to have some life to it. So it's a hard balance to strike.
One thing that is kind of hard to convey when you're just drawing a single character is a sense of how tall they are, a sense of scale. It's really hard because there's nothing to compare her to. So what is it that I can do to make her look like the short little girl that she is? She's not little, she's old, isn't she? She's 32. The short...
Careful what you call old.
Oh, sorry. So what could I do to convey that she is a short trident or a short being? I think it really comes down to proportions. Making the legs really short, making the head a little bit larger sort of gives her the more childlike sort of proportions, and making sure that her shoulders are really broad and her hips are really narrow as well, just sort of help with that. I didn't want to go too far because she isn't like a dwarf or a halfling, but I think just having slightly shorter legs helped make her feel a little bit shorter than your average size human. In our most recent masterclass over on Patreon, we actually went over how to make your characters look shorter and how to address dwarf and halfling proportions. So if that's something that you guys are interested in, be sure to check out our Patreon.
This generator is definitely geared more towards playable characters because they don't give so much by way of visual description.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff about voice, about backstory, personality, like mannerisms and stuff. So yeah, I was in the same position as you in that I didn't have a lot of visual cues to go on besides sort of, the coloring and basic proportions. And I began by searching up male dancer poses. The reference image I came across was of a male dancer, and it looks like he's got his arms posed behind his back, but in a way that it looks like he could be holding someone in a headlock. And then I was like, yes, what if this character, like all his assassinations, are a beautiful dance? So he's just having fun, like dancing and killing all these people, and it's this wonderful artistic venture. With this train of thought, it also led me to think about what he'd be wearing, because an assassin, typically you're going to be as covered up as possible.
Yeah.
That's why ninjas are like all black. You only see the eyes. But this guy is also arrogant, and he's sexy and he knows it. So I think his vanity is going to get the better of him. And he's going to be in like minimalistic, practical clothes, but he's still going to want to show off his physique. And he's so maybe overconfident in his abilities as an assassin that he doesn't feel the need to like cover up vital organs and
He
stuff.
doesn't need protection.
Yeah.
Nobody's after him because
Exactly.
they don't know he's an assassin.
Yeah. And then he just like dazzles them with his pecs. So the headlock pose was fantastic, but the one thing it was lacking was the ability for me to showcase his little pickle jar of flesh. So I decided that I would throw in a secondary character, which I probably won't fully render, but just to show that character in the headlock. And that character is going to be the one holding the jar of flesh. So whenever he's about to like kill a character, he wants to go after the Guild of Thieves or whatever, or like the head honcho, he like has fun playing cat and mouse with them, and he puts his jar of pickled flesh like on their desk. And so like when they walk into their office and they're like, what's that? And while they're distracted like looking at it, that's when he comes up behind them and dances with them. And then after...
That's what I would do. I'd be like, what the hell is this on my desk? And then I'd be murdered.
Well, the second last thing you see is the pickled flesh, and then the last thing you see is a beautiful man dancing with you. It's not a bad way to go. And then after he kills his latest victim, then he takes like a piece of flesh from them and then like replaces it in the jar.
Of course, I had to give my character some paintbrushes because of her love of painting. And I decided that her primary medium is watercolors, obviously, because she's a trident. Because she's already got the water in her area, I imagine she just carries around some like little powders that she can mix with water, and that'll become the watercolor paints.
Even her hair looks like a giant paintbrush. Like those giant suey like ink brushes.
Oh my god, that was entirely unintentional, but I love that you have pointed that out.
And she like dip her hair in the paint or the ink and then just like whoosh.
Oh my god, yes. That is so something she would do. I love it.
Yeah, you just put like some tip on the tip of a hair too.
All right, I'm gonna do it. I imagine she's very arty because she's also got lots of tattoos, and I feel like that's an arty thing that arty people would do, is get tattoos. It was mentioned in her brief that her tattoos are of her spirit animal, so I decided to kind of go for a seahorse. That way I could get these like really nice...
Yeah, the tails.
Yeah, you can just see the tail sticking out of her arms, and then I sort of followed that whirly tribal sort of thick tattoo style across her whole body, and added a few more lines and triangles just to make it feel like she belongs somewhere. This is her tribe.
What if her tattoos are actually like her watercolor pigments? So she's just got like different colors on her. She can mix and match. It's like I don't know why, but it's like a self-replenishing source.
Yeah, that's cool. It's kind of hard to work out what she was wearing because on one hand her description said that she was a noble.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, it said that she had grown up in like a rundown shack. Maybe she was born a noble, but then she had to like escape the castle for some reason, and now she's living like on a farm with her like foster parents or something. Would be kind of cool.
Well, she's got a scandalous secret that could ruin her family forever. Maybe that's why that's something to do with the discrepancy between her noble heritage and her ramshackle.
Maybe the fact that she's noble is the fact that she has she has to keep that a secret, otherwise people could take advantage of her or kidnap her or attack her or something like that. I like how that's kind of worked out. It also says that she takes a lot of pride in protecting and caring for the people around her. So I'm assuming that maybe like the poorer townsfolk that she's now living with, rather than her true royal family. Even though it says her alignment is lawful evil, I would think that she still cares for people quite a lot. That actually works out perfectly because it says in the description that her parents were either imprisoned, enslaved, or otherwise taken away. So maybe she was separated from them at birth and had to, I guess, hide in the local town. Now, the description said that she has a white sequin glove, and immediately I thought of those like half gloves that digital artists wear. Even though I don't imagine she'd get much digital art done underwater because I don't think she can get a computer down there. I still kind of like the fact that it's an arty glove rather than just a regular glove.
I think that's a lot better than my ideas. When I thought white glove, first I thought Michael Jackson, then I thought Mickey Mouse.
No, I like the art glove. I wanted to steer way clear of that.
It's been a while since I've done like proper line art. Usually I just kind of slap in some rough construction lines and then go in like blocking big shapes and stuff. I was trying to capture that delicate dancer energy. So doing line art forced me to control the artwork a bit more than my usual like style.
Yeah, I feel like the delicate, flowy sort of lines really suit the character more.
Yeah, but you know what's really annoying? Line art for folds. Like, I think since the last time I complained about doing folds, I've probably improved a little bit because I've done a bit of study, but it's still such a pain in the ass.
If you want to paint as well as my D&D character supposedly can, then I would consider getting Jazz's Ultimate Digital Brush Pack. It is a collection of 83 digital brushes that are of excellent quality and are crafted by myself and Jazza. You know that you are getting brushes that are suitable for professional artwork. Whether you're at the beginning of your art journey or if you're a professional, they are fully compatible with Adobe Photoshop, Procreate, and Clip Studio Paint, and you can get a discount using the code INSERTBRUSHES. See the link in the description below. Luckily, the descriptions that we were given sort of make sense in that the skin color and hair color for my character are these like silvery greeny blues, which I feel like is quite appropriate for a Triton. So I decided to just fully lean into the teal color, going with varying tones of teal and then just adding a nice purpley sort of leathery brown for her armor. In my description, it is mentioned that her eye color is black, and I thought that was getting a little bit boring, so I decided to fully lean into these like really big fishy sort of eyes, and that gives her this sort of aquatic feel. I just thought it made her seem a little bit less human and a little bit more Triton. So very subtly, I just changed the color of her hair at the ends in these sort of like blobby patterns. It's a little bit subtle to notice, but I didn't want it to distract from like everything else that's going on because she's got a lot of things going on. Yeah. So it's kind of as if she just like accidentally dipped her ponytail in an open can of paint or something as she was walking by.
Oh, I thought you were going to take the approach like you did with the Jazza Pokemon, where he's just got like bright primary color splotches all over him.
I did my usual shading, but it was looking a little bit matte on this character. It wasn't giving that like wet, sort of fishy, scaly, shiny sort of look. So I decided to add a layer of highlights. And if you want to make your characters look extra shiny or a little bit wet like mine, I really recommend sticking to really small specular highlights. So you can see that I keep them very small and quite round, and I just put them in a select few places on her, and that makes her seem much more scalier and slimier. I think highlights are something that you have to be very careful with, because if you do make them too big, it's going to make your character look matte or shiny but not wet. So if you have your highlights really big, it's going to look like a brushed chrome or something, and if you keep them nice and small, it's going to look like a mirror ball. Considering that my character is a watercolor painter, I decided to just go in with some really cloudy watercolor brushes and then top that off with a little bit of like spatter.
So my choice of secondary character in this piece, subconsciously I guess I was tying it into his backstory of having been wronged by a thief or an assassin in the past. And so he's kind of like going for the Mafia Kings, which is why he's got this like big corpulent fella in his grasp at the moment. Hence the purple robes. You know, this guy's clearly been sitting on lots of wealth and exploiting the poor. Yeah. And here comes the beautiful dancer to take him out. So I began by complaining about having to draw the folds of his pants. Then I proceeded to draw an entire huge fat guy behind him with like robes, so more folds.
I think you would draw like an extra character in a character design. I really like how messier the second character is, because he's not really important and we don't want to focus on him. I really like how you've added like more brush strokes and it looks more painterly and less refined.
I just didn't want to have to think about the second character's like pose and stuff. I'm just like, he's gonna be big, just gonna cover him with a robe.
Fair enough.
Fine.
We'll just stick some arms out of the robe holes.
Yeah.
Yep.
And because he's like dark purple, that bright orange of the main character stands out.
Yeah.
And also the dark purple is a good background for that weird jar of pickled flesh.
I love his pointed toe. He looks like such a ballerina.
Yeah, so all that was just from the reference photo, honestly. Like whenever you look at dancers, just like the amount of weight they can put on their feet and the way they can bend without breaking is insane. So I wanted to capture that and do justice to the actual person who posed this photo.
It actually kind of looks like you've given him like ballet slippers or something.
Yeah.
Which feels very appropriate.
Those sneaky assassin shoes, I suppose.
Yeah. They've got to be like quiet. They're like really
Exactly.
quiet shoes. So we've both got our characters, and I feel like the next step into making them like playable D&D characters is to have them meet, to bring them together.
In some place other than a tavern.
Yeah.
So my guy, he's a hired hitman. He's chaotic neutral. He kills for money and for fun. And I like this thing about his benefactor. The beggar king has hidden him from his pursuers many times in return for future considerations.
Okay.
And your lady apparently started out noble, and for whatever reason she ended up in the slums. And they happened to meet while he was on a mission to assassinate certain targets, and it was during like the big ballroom dancing when, you know, you're switching partners every couple of minutes.
Yeah.
And that's how they met. But they both were there on their own secret mission.
Yeah.
And something about that 2-minute dance between them made them realize they had some kind of common history, and that it would benefit both of them to partner up. And also, like, she likes painting beautiful things, and like, he's beautiful, so why not?
Yeah, you can be my muse. If you liked the video today and you're looking for more D&D content over here on Insert Art, we've actually got 2 previous D&D videos where Ariel draws an elf ranger, I think, and I draw a samurai gnome, which is quite fun. So go check them out if you're interested.
One of our favorite things is actually reading your comments, especially when you get involved with all your names for ideas of characters and backstories, of how these characters interact, meet, go on adventures. So if our video and our characters and our thoughts have inspired you today, please feel free to comment as much as you want. Never apologize for having comments that are too long. We actually do read all of them. And it's just so fun to have a community where we can draw inspiration from each other.
If you want to do this prompt yourself, or you've got your own D&D character that you make art for, then feel free to post it in our Discord. It is a free community, and we've got Insert Art fan art, we've got everything that you can imagine. We're actually doing an Inktober challenge. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, then feel free to share your art on our Discord. And last but not least, a huge thank you to our wonderful patrons. You knew it was coming. Every month we do masterclasses, tutorials, polls, and just general updates and behind the scenes on our Patreon. So if you want to get a little bit closer to the Insert Art community and a little bit closer to us artists, then feel free to check out our Patreon. It is thanks to our wonderful patrons that the channel is still running and that we get to make awesome art like this.
And since we know you guys are going to ask what generator we're using, it's just Tetra, that's tetra-cube.com. We'll try to remember to leave a link.
If you're wondering where to go in search of the Ultimate Digital Brush Pack, then check out the link in the description below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you liked the video, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
Hope to get to draw more beautiful men.
Who do you think would win out of our 2 characters?
I think yours would win just because, like, she's short, and it's always the little ones you have to watch out for.
Yeah. She's short and fiery and speedy.
Like chihuahuas.
Yeah.
Those things will get you.